Okay, here's the situation. I'm a little harsh in the throat, but I'm gonna run through this. We are almost out of the stuff that we canned for our chilies, for our spaghettis. Last year. And Vicky makes this stuff out of tomatoes from our garden. And she puts onions and peppers and squash in these things and cans them, and they last us for for a year. But we're almost out. We're at the end of the year. And so, 6 weeks before the last frost, you are supposed to plant your little seedlings. And we did this last year. It worked out great. And we got them all ready to go. And I'll show you how I do this. And for what worth it may be. And you probably have your own way of doing things, but this is how I do it. I've grown tomatoes in our garden for the last 40 years, and I have tried so many different ways, and all of them worked. And we were able to have tomatoes and can them and last for a year or two at a time. I like this way. One of the advantages with this is that when the plants grow up to about 10 inches or 12 inches, and I go to put them in the garden, there's less shock to the plant when the whole root comes out that way. But there are advantages and disadvantages to just about every way you want to do this. And this is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. What I recommend you start with to plant seedlings in there and have enough room for the roots to grow is something like a larger cup, like these little solo cups, like this. And what you need to do is take your solo cup and you need to drill 4 holes in the corners. And you need to notice that this cup has a square bottom. And you need to take one that doesn't have a square bottom, that's see-through. So that when you fill this up with soil, and then you stick it in here, then you can see the water level when you add water. And the water level needs to come up so that the roots down there will be fed by the water. But you don't want too much water. So it's easy to drain the water out if you have too much water, or add it up so that you can see that it's reaching up to the bottom of that red cup. And then I took some potting soil and some peat moss, and I mixed it together. How much? Oh, I don't know. I think I went about 50-50. And then I added water to it, mixed it all up, so that it will hold itself a little bit. It'll hold itself in a ball, but you can't squeeze water out of it. And then I'll plant my seeds. I add the soil all the way up to the top of the cup, and then I take a spray bottle and I'll spray it as I need to, as it begins to dry out on the top. So I take a chopstick and I make a little indentation in the top, and then I'll drop the seed in there and then cover it up a little bit and then give it a little spray of water. Now these Black Beauty tomato seeds are so small. So I'm going to drop that tomato seed in the hole, cover it up a little bit, and then I will mist it a little bit. And then it's very important that you label these. This is BB for Black Beauty. Now this is why it's so important that you have square bottom red cups to put into the round bottom other cups, because it won't allow the red cup to drop all the way down in there. And so you have that space. And I like to fill it up. I guess I like to fill it up so it comes up here. And when I see it dropping down lower and lower, then I just come and I put more water in this cup. And I might mist it on the top from time to time, but that's how I do it. If the bottom cup is not clear, you won't be able to see the water level. And so that's the advantage of having the red cup and then a clear cup, both solo cups. Now at Costco, when you buy croissants, they come in these plastic containers, and I just cut it in two with the scissors. And you can put, as I've done here, you can put 8 of those in there. That way, if you have it in your house and you're trying to get these seedlings to sprout, and I will have a lamp that I use, then it will keep that water from getting anywhere and messing up your furniture or your table or your desk or wherever you have these things. Here, the tomatoes we're gonna grow are called Black Beauties. I ordered these from Baker Creek. They're heirloom seeds. So these right here are the pork chop. It's a yellow tomato with red streaks in it. And this ought to be pretty good color for the canning jars that Vicky's gonna have. Now, because this is pretty wobbly, I'm gonna put a board underneath them. I'll cut the board to the right length, and then they'll be supported very, very well. The way all of these cups that I'm using, I used last year, and they look perfectly fine. Yeah, I washed them up, but they're sturdy, and they'll go, I don't know, they look like they'll go quite a few more years. These croissant containers that I've made, they're very flimsy. And if you put 8 cups in there, you will not be able to lift it up unless you have a solid piece of wood underneath it. So it would be better if somebody found something, you can buy them at the you know, like Piedmont Farm and Garden or places like that, or at Walmart maybe. Find something much sturdier than this. This is just to keep the water from, you know, where it needs to be and not getting all over everything. They'll work for me, but I would recommend somebody get something sturdier than these croissant containers. Okay, this is a full spectrum grow light, and I probably need 2 for as wide a field as it needs to cover. But what I'll end up doing is just rotating these plants once the seedlings start to come up. I did this last year and had great luck, and within 6 weeks the plants were, wow, I guess they're about 10 or 12 inches tall. And it worked really well. And then we went and planted them in the garden. Okay, so this is ready to go. We'll plant about 8 of our tomato plants here, and we'll put strings down and help them grow up the strings. And this worked very well for the last couple of years. And the rest of our tomato plants we'll put along the cattle guard here. We'll have about 24 plants along here, and they grow very well here too. This is a house plant that got taken outside and left in the sun. It was a beautiful day, spring day. Got left out there and got sunburned. And this one too. And this plant is, for all intents and purposes, just about dead. And so you don't want to sunburn your plants if they've been raised inside the house. My plants have been with a grow light, a full spectrum grow light. I will take them out in the spring on a nice day and try to get them hardened off, but maybe only 10 minutes the first day, and then maybe the next time 20 minutes, and maybe the next time an hour, and I will gradually increase the time until these plants do well outside. And if I see any evidence of being sunburned, I've left them out too long. But you got to get them that way to get them hardened off before you end up putting them out in the ground, because they will get sunburned if you're not careful. So I wanted to share with you why it is that during a very hot summer, we rarely have to water our tomatoes and why they do so well. I put down a goodly amount of mulch, and once I've got that down, and it's been here for a couple of years, and of course, even if you do it the first year, it'll work out pretty well. But I move the mulch aside, and I get down to the dark dirt. And then when the plants are coming up, I will move the mulch in right up to the plant. But the roots are in the dirt, not in the mulch. And that's how I make them last so long during the summer without watering.